Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Helen and today we're going to go over the first thing that I made with fabric that I got from the Sewing Lair. And I did a thrifted fabric haul on all the pieces I got in my previous video, so I'll link that in the card above or in the description below. The first fabric that I decided to make something with was my favorite, and that's this one. I think last time I called this like a botanical woodland print. I honestly have no idea what to call it. I just know it's sort of like got this lovely floral insect print. It's sort of an upholstery level fabric. It's very thick. I thought this would be really nice made up into a bag. So I did some research and I've never really made very many bags before. I did find a website that I've looked at a couple of times before called soeasy.com, and I'll link them below as well, and the pattern that I used. And it is basically a massive collection and library of free patterns. The instructions are also on the website, and it's just a really nice resource if you want to get started but you don't necessarily want to fork out money just yet until you're maybe a little bit more experienced with bags or dresses or whatever it is you're looking at. I found the instructions really easy to follow along with. I'd say if you're a beginner, it's probably really important to have those instructions up next to you as you go so that you don't make any mistakes. I purchased this, or downloaded the pattern digitally and then printed it out on A4 paper. So the website lists everything that you'll need to make this bag. I won't repeat it. If you wanted to go and check it out, please do so. The first step in the instructions is to put fusible interfacing onto the lining pieces. I didn't do this just because of the weight of my outer fabric. It's really heavy and I didn't really want it to stand out that much. The bucket bag in the pattern has quite a lot of body and kind of holds its own shape quite well. I didn't really want to go for that look, so I left out the fusible interfacing. The second step then is to make the pockets. So to do this, you're just putting the right side of the pocket, the right side of the fashion fabric and the lining right sides together and sewing along the bottom. And then once you've done that for both pocket pieces, you can sew the right sides facing of those two pocket pieces together so that you have the lining bits facing and the fabric fashion fabric bits facing. And then once you've done that and you've ironed all the seams open, you'll have this like nice long strip that's finished on one end. Then the pattern calls to finish the edge of the pocket with bias binding. This was really interesting to me. For some reason I thought you would just put the unfinished edge into the base, but it turns out the pocket kind of sits up a little from the bottom of the bag, which I like. It's a nice touch. So bias tape it was. I went and made way too much bias tape for this bag actually. I don't know how I miscalculated, but I've got so much left over. I won't go through every single step of the instructions because they're freely available and you can access them if you would like to do so. But basically, once you've constructed the pockets, you attach those to the lining. I didn't follow the marking so much. It's quite a forgiving pattern in that sense that, like, if you don't mark on where the pocket is meant to be, you just place it where you feel like it would sit best. I did align the seams because I think that would just like make sense and look nice. Then you kind of sew lines at every third of each pocket piece, and that gives you 6 pockets all the way around. Thought at this point you could totally make like a skinnier channel to make something like a spot for a pen or a spot for a lipstick or something, and keep like some of the pocket spacings bigger. I didn't do that at the time because I was trying to just see what the pattern is, but if I make this bag again, I might actually just customize the pocket sizes, like one to the size of my phone standing vertically up, then another one to maybe some lip glosses and things, so that you can have everything like nicely organized. I think that would be really fun. So from there you can then attach the bottom of the pieces to the lining. I didn't interface the bottom of mine. I probably could have. It would make the base a little stronger, but I didn't mind how it looked, so it still turned out okay. So then you kind of repeat the construction of the outside by attaching the outer wall pieces and then the base to the outside piece, and go ahead and sandwich them together. The outside piece is made to be a little bit taller than the lining, so that once you've put them together, you can kind of turn over the edge of the outside and make this lovely lip. Then that way from the outside, you can just see like it's all nice fabric all the way around, and you don't get that lining peeping through. Basically end up sandwiching the lining between the folded over top of the outside fabric and the outside fabric. And here the pattern goes through the option to put in a zippered, like an extra zippered pocket. I didn't do this. I think, if I'm honest, I couldn't really be bothered at the time to make the pocket. I think it would be a great addition though, if that's something you wanted to do. It sits in that fold over spot, so you don't have to make like a welt pocket or anything. It'd be really handy for like keys because it's near the top of the bag. But yeah, I didn't make that. Step 7 is where I also kind of deviated from the pattern. The pattern calls for grommets, quite large grommets. I don't have those, and at the moment shipping times for things are extremely long and I didn't really feel like waiting. So I just went ahead and used buttonholes. Now that the bag is finished and I've had a chance to actually use it, I think buttonholes work, but I didn't really judge the size correctly. So mine are a little bit small. It just means that if you have the bag and you want to pull it closed, so if I just pull on this part, it's not really smooth. I think if it was with a grommet, it obviously would slide a lot easier. It still works and like it's still fine. I just think that, yeah, there's an obvious reason she uses grommets. They slide much nicer. You kind of need both hands to close this bag. because of the buttonholes, I need to be able to like move the fabric a bit alongside the handle just to get it to close nicely. If I would make it again, I would either make the buttonholes bigger so that they were like quite large, or I would go ahead and use grommets because it'll slide and it'll just work way better. The last part was making the handles, and this is, if you've ever made bias tape before, it's essentially making bias tape, just instead of it cut on the bias, it was cut on the straight grain, which gives the handle less stretch so it's a bit more solid. And it also had these sections, like a little tab, and this cord doesn't go all the way through. I thought this handle would like slide around the bias tape, and I probably could have done that, but it didn't occur to me at the time, like it might be nice that this moves, considering the actual fabric itself doesn't move very easily. It would remove the fact that you have to like have these even for these pieces to line up. So if you go the buttonhole route, I would advise just sandwiching the bias tape in but not sewing it in, if that makes sense, so that this tubey bit kind of moves, and it doesn't matter that maybe this one's like here and this one's here, and then you're not even. That's such a small feature though, like it's totally okay to have the bag as is. In the pattern, she also makes a tassel, which I think would be a great addition to this bag. For a first time making it though, I love how it turned out. It holds about like a Tupperware lunchbox, my wallet, and my phone, and I think that's just the perfect size if I need to go to work on the train or something like that. I could totally take this and it will work. I'm kind of proud of myself. I didn't think bags were that easy, or maybe I just picked a really easy bag, but I always felt kind of intimidated by them, and a little bit like the same problem I had when I started making clothes, where like I don't really know how to pick fabrics that totally fit together. But I think this like dark purpley color, plum color, really complements the bag well. I did finish the inside with hand sewing. You can barely see it there, but I finished the inside of the bag by hand. That was just a personal preference. I just wanted it to look really nice and not have like a top stitching line here. I think if you'd use like a solid fabric and you had complementary thread, you could totally just sew it by machine. But yeah, I sewed it by hand. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I upload new videos every month, hopefully. And if you want to stick around and see what I make with the other thrifted fabrics, I am about to start making some Christmas gifts for all of my friends and family. And some of that is with the thrifted fabric and some of that is with new fabric. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.